Recording in progress.
Okay, it is 9:35. We'll call the meeting to order. If we could have a roll call, please.
Veronica Cordova.
Here.
Chad Evelyn.
Here.
Megan Hamilton's absent. Mike Miller's absent. Grace Wood.
Here.
Okay, we have a forum. Item 3 is scheduled business discussion and action items. Our first, action is minutes of previous meeting. They were emailed out to us. We're able to see those.
Sorry about the late. We didn't realize the 3 words.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Hupler and a second by Mr. Wood. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item B, presentation and action on first quarter budget adjustments. FYI 23-24.
Didn't do a whole lot of budget adjustments this time since it's first quarter, and most of it's just moving from full-time position into other payroll with terminations that didn't have enough to, so that it zeroes everything out. So I should be good on my upload. Our property insurance was more this time, so I went ahead and zeroed out the budgets on that since I don't think we have anything else in there for those. And then there was a correction that whenever we did budget, the interim budget and the final budget, the GRT admin fee was in as a negative number instead of positive. So I'm doing a correction for that, so I have to budget to pay that out of. And there's 2 other things that whenever I tried to upload last quarter, the law enforcement protection was missing. There was actually 2 grants for them, and the other one was the recruitment, and I had to put them on for LGBMS to accept it. And so I put them at the bottom in a separate. And altogether, the total for this quarter, the actual is the budget change was $194,661. And the grand total is right down to where I can read it is $217,997.14. And all of this will probably work out next quarter whenever I've had more time to sit down and look and see what Maryland did and kind of where we're at on some stuff that we have. Like animal control moved from the PD to under planning and zoning in between the budget time, so we're gonna have to make adjustments for that, otherwise she's gonna win money. Unless y'all have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
So that's where you're right there, where you put the, on the law enforcement protection, the
Yeah.
141, that's that grant.
Yes, and we did get in the payment for that to the border, so.
Cool.
What number is that, Chad?
Sheet 11.
If you look at the bottom, I put them on the bottom of the report separate so
That's your
that,
minutes.
so that it was clear what I was doing.
Been lost in our section there.
It's probably what I was trying to make that too.
Yeah, all of that, you're still in the
Okay.
minutes from last time.
Yeah.
One should be the very, very last. With about 211.
I have a question. Where is which line item or fund would be property tax again?
Okay, this is just budget adjustments.
But you said it was higher this time. Was that because of our increase?
The property insurance was what was higher, and it's across
Okay.
several different departments. All pay out of that.
And here it looks like.
So we knew the insurance was going to be increased. They had increased it for a while, and this year we knew it.
So between the increase in the new building, that all went up, so that's divvied out between some different departments.
Okay. Can you just remind me to ask the question about the increase on property tax? And other businesses. Okay, does anybody have any other questions on the budget adjustments?
The budget adjustments are just in this document.
That was last.
This one was last time?
Yes, it's part of.
That's part of the minutes.
minutes.
To look at the. I'll make a motion to approve the first quarter budget adjustments for 2023, 2024.
We have a motion, we have a second.
So one more quick question.
Okay.
We received, looks like revenue from the state Kilgore project. Is that for the project that's now completed? $16.
44,293, Chris, that's what you look at.
That's one we're still working on, the drainage, that's why I went back to look at it, my apologies. Yes,
So we're still working on that
we're
one.
still working on that one, we're doing drainage, the intersection. Yes.
Number on 270, just real quick, that the opioid fund, that's where we'll put the money for the mental health.
That's, this is revenues coming in from
Right.
the opioid fund, so yes, it's
That's where-
allocated for.
That's where that money will be set up. That's where they do
This is
it.
the revenue account, so the expenditure account will be something that will be separate.
Sure.
But it ties into the same.
Right.
Kind of how the two are.
Right.
And then what, on 280, it shows penalties collected. When were the penalties?
Penalties and interest on GRT final.
Which one's that?
That'd be your cannabis regulation.
280.
That's, whenever the state collects cannabis, they collect late fees and we get a portion of those and they're separated out. If you'd like me to send you the reports on that so you can see all of that, I'll be more than happy to share that. And kind of how that's broken down now that I have figured that out.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we have a motion by Mr. Nicholas, a second by Mr. Wood, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Carries. Next item is item C, review of the bills for the month of September 2023. Ms. Tyra?
Our total expenditures was $2,022,970.33. Of which, $164,210 was for the fire department for some equipment. And if you have any questions on that, luckily TJ's here.
That's grant funded from the fire protection grant.
And then the rest of it was that we did have the liability insurance payment, which is kind of a once a year deal. And that was a pretty large expenditure, but that's a normal yearly deal. And that was $723,130.
you have any questions on the bills?
That's good. No, I think we're good to go.
I think that's for, well, I don't know, we do,
You can do public comments.
yeah, that other business.
Yeah.
Okay.
On other, okay.
Just make a motion to approve it.
No, we're still seeing if there's any questions.
Page 5. $13,007 to Mrs. Stevens. News.
Yes,
Was that
we hired a company to come in and was cut it right. But it's, I guess the business is DB, Mrs. Stevens, cut it right. And they came in and did a portion of our alleyway cleanup. We had a small budget. We already went through the budget, but that was, I believe, the final thing that you remember, Joe?
That there is a little bit left in there,
Okay.
but there's.
So that's
is that like cutting weeds and stuff like that?
cutting weeds
or-
and cleaning alleys from fence to fence is what they're doing. So they're cutting weeds, they're taking out how many mattresses. They gave us a report when Kristen gets them published, but they pulled out a lot of stuff in the alley.
We still have our contract going right, so.
Oh, yeah. And Joe has been working with Clean and Beautiful. We're planning 3 cleanups this next year in 2024. There'll be 2 in the spring and 1 in the fall. Will be like spring, sort of summer and then fall. Yeah. Where we'll be getting that information together and everything and how it's gonna work out.
Any other questions?
What you know for
Second.
Motion by Mr. Copeland, second by Mr. Wood. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is other business, any matter not known about or which cannot have been reasonably foreseen prior to the posting of the agenda. This, Mr. Rocker, did you have a question?
I just had one question on the bills. I've been reviewing them the last few months that I've been coming. And the sheer volume of cell phone bills is just staggering to me. I don't understand. Does every single city employee have a cell phone? It seems like 100 that I counted on one month's bill.
So I had that same question when I first came in because I was like, oh my gosh, that's like a ton of cell phone bills. But they are,
I can answer that.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, so directors have cell phones. And we have jetpacks for all PD officers and fire so that they can connect from their cars back into the system so they can run CAD and get all their stuff going. So a big bulk of those is for people to connect back to us who are working remotely from cars.
And with the police department, that's fine. I mean,
You're looking at every officer, every lieutenant, you're looking at what, 35? Because also animal control has them, code enforcement has it, fire has it for their ambulances. So we have a good amount of cell phones. So I was thinking animal control is not under you anymore. And then we also have a huge amount for public works because of the water guys, supervisors, that type of stuff. Or I should say they're now public utility
Yeah.
and public infrastructure.
And because
I guess that was kind of my question, because there was a time when that kind of communication was done with radios and trucks. And I'm just curious why that went away when it was a cheaper technology. I know we did that for years and years of construction. We had radios in the trucks, and for some things like public works, I would think that would. There's no reason that system wouldn't work rather than $40 silver.
Well, part of it is the community, the public gets called in, especially if they're on call. And I don't know why they went from radios to phones. That was before my time.
Just curious.
I think part of it had to do with when the towers were changing over from digital to, they were not digital. now they're
And
digital.
along the way to-
Right. And that was a lot of, that was a big increase in cost too, to be able to update the towers to take on the digital from the analog.
For us, it allows the officers to, when they get the calls, on the computer, and then they can do the reports.
Oh, I get it, I got no problem there, I just don't know.
Well, even your public work and then have tablets and they tie into our system and they can get work orders and all of that stuff electronically. So it's for data, not just for, hey,
Just
you
for-
need
yeah.
to do that.
Sounds like a lot of it is for
That makes sense.
less than talking on the
It's,
cell.
it's mostly for data,
Data, yeah.
yes, yeah.
Any other questions? I have a question, so, she reminded me of when she said property tax, and I just didn't need to ask the question. What was the actual increase that we went to? I know we were trying to go 6%, down
Do
to.
you remember that by chance? We might have to look that up and get that back
Okay,
to you.
I think we're gonna have to look at that.
Yeah, and I
because
think it was
Wasn't it
like,
cut in half?
what, I think,
Yeah, it
I
was-
think it was less than half.
Yeah.
I think it was like
Can't remember.
Made the motion that
I
night.
made a motion,
It was three- it was
the
3%.
proposal was 4.
It was 1.4, it was.
One,
30.
I thought it was 1.3.
I cut it into, I cut it into three times, but, no, that's right, I made that motion,
So
because I had to figure it out three.
So, and the reasoning for me to ask that question is, we still are allowing the 50% of that budget to go for streets, correct? Okay. Because there was, talks out there that it wasn't, and I said, no, I'm almost 100% sure, but I'll.
What happened was.
That's in two different meetings
Yes,
that
in two
the
different
minutes were mentioned. When he made the proposal to go to 1/3, there was no mention of half of it. going to the
That's because it
streets.
already been voted on.
Yeah, because it had been voted on previously.
But when you change the motion, you've amended it. When you amend the amount, you amended the motion. So
I
the
think-
motion now didn't include a 50% to the
I believe
street.
the motion amended just the amount,
Just the amount,
not,
not the actual. proposal.
not the allocation.
Well, I'm just talking about the wording of what was in
Right.
the minutes.
Right.
When you change the amount, you should have included that
Oh, we-
50% still went to the streets, because there was discussion that night of where the 50% came from.
But I think when we were changing the amount, when we were changing the,
I think how it went, and you might be right, I can just add saying, we made the motion that 50% of whatever we made that property tax was gonna go towards roads.
Right.
we did it the
allocated
To
second
clear it
time,
up, you probably could have said that, but I don't think it changes the fact.
right,
But
yeah, because we weren't changing what we had decided on streets, we were just changing, we were making an amendment to.
because there was really
The
no,
motion of the
because
amount.
the amount was never agreed on.
Right.
So there was never a motion to agree on 4% and move it back to 1.3.
But it was.
But it was agreed on.
On to do the 50%, okay, perfect. Any other questions? Okay, with that, item 4 is adjournment. We are adjourned at 9:54.
Cool.